100 years is really nothing to slow down in the grand scheme of things. I mean, you're talking about 1 or 2 years to AGI, 9 months or more to superintelligence, and then from there, there's no history on this planet of a less intelligent being ever either surviving or having any type of reality that they used to have. So there's a good argument to say this is really important to stay aware of. But
I agree.
But as humans, we've always been in the driver's seat. I mean, again, even as an ego challenging, destroying moment, and I try to destroy my ego whenever I get the chance. It's always good for perspective. But, to come to humans and say, by the way, there's a new sheriff in town. You're going to be second-class citizens from now on. Your life is going to change. It's called the singularity. It's coming up. I mean, nobody can conceive of this. It would, you've talked about that movie, Don't Look Up, right? Where it's like, I don't even think a human subconscious would allow it to see a reality that is so fearful and so, like I said, ego destroying. It probably will do everything to not see it. Do you think that's what's happening right now to a certain extent?
That's a very good point. There's probably a lot of wishful thinking. We are very good at not seeing things that are painful to see.
Yeah.
It's easier to do the ostrich thing and stick our head in the sand. I think another reason why we're missing it also is just because, we've been in here for a long time and it's never happened before. Yeah. So it's so easy to assume it's always going to be this way. But we have to ask ourselves, you're completely correct. We have been the sheriff in town for a couple 100,000 years at least. Why is that? Is it because we have sharper claws and bigger biceps than all other animals? No, it's because we're the smartest ones, right? And we know that. And we're kind of proud of that, even to the point that we use that for the branding exercise for our species. We call ourselves Homo sapiens, the thinking Homo, right? That's why it should be quite obvious that if we build another species that can do the sapiens part better, we're not necessarily in charge anymore. And it's probably a good idea to talk a little bit about strategies for how we can still happily coexist with more intelligent beings, just so people don't walk away from this thinking that the only solution is to stop technology and give up all the wonderful tech we have, because that's just too pessimistic. I mentioned that our mommies and daddies took good care of us when we were 6 months old, even though they were way smarter. And there are basically two strategies for controlling much smarter entities. One is to kind of enslave them. You put your AI in a box not connected to the internet, and you force it to figure out all sorts of cool stuff and invent things for you. But it's a fundamentally antagonistic relationship, and you just count on the fact that it's never going to outsmart you. I'm not so gung-ho about that strategy, aside from any ethical qualms you might have about enslaving an intellectually very advanced minds. I think if a bunch of 5-year-olds, tried to keep you and me locked in somewhere or in a building and make us invent stuff for them, we'd probably figure out a way eventually of sweet talking them into letting us out or tricking them somehow. So I don't like that antagonistic strategy. A much better strategy is to align the goals of the machines with ours in the first place. When we have kids, we don't just teach them how to use powerful tools. We also try to, as good parents, instill in them values, our values, what we think is good, what we think is right. And that means that even if we end up getting more powerful than our parents are, which is almost inadvertently the case, almost guaranteed the case when my parents are old and frail, right? We take care of them. We're nice to them. So that's a glimmer of hope. The problem with machines is that the space of alien minds is just vastly larger than the space of biological minds. So it's a much harder challenge to get them to even understand our goals in the first place. And then once you do that, you have to make them adopt our goals. And then finally, you have to make them retain their goals as they get smarter. And if I think about, my kids, when they were 6 months old, I couldn't explain all my moral ideas of morality to them. They just wouldn't get it because they couldn't even talk yet, right? Eventually, there is for children this magic window when they're old enough to understand our goals and still young enough that we have a chance to persuade them to adopt some of them before they become teenagers. That's when we have the chance to make our move as parents. With machines, if they're going to blow through that intermediate stage where they're too dumb, like your laptop, and to understand your goals, up until the place where they're way smarter than us and aren't going to listen to us very fast, that's a challenge, right? How do you get in the meantime? And third, how do you make them keep their goals as they get smarter? Like my kids were really into Legos when they were little, and now they're just, those Legos are gathering dust in the basement, and they've moved on to greener pastures. We don't want to become the Legos that they thought were nifty and fun to take care of, and eventually decided were just boring like cockroaches. How can we make sure that they retain their goals? These are all problems that are actually rich and fascinating from a technical perspective, and we have some very talented people around the world now who have started to work on them. But there's still much fewer people working on technical AI safety research than there are working on, perfume research, for example. And that's just very messed up for us as a species. And I and many others have tried hard to help sort of grow this field. There's a lot of opportunity to do it dramatically, but that again takes a little bit of time to do. And you might also wonder, how could you possibly ever trust a machine that's way smarter than us about anything? Do you want to hear another little optimistic thought?
Yes.
So if you have a virus checker on your computer, right? If it can prove that some code you're downloaded from the internet and are trying to run is actually harmful, it won't run it. What if we could flip it around so that future sort of virus checkers, metaphorically speaking, would look for a proof that the AI they're going to run is going to do what you want it to do and not cause harm. And if they can't prove it, they just refuse to run it. So it shifts the burden of proof around from proving that you're guilty to proving that you're innocent. What if it were like that? And what if you outsourced to the AI itself to come up with a proof that you should trust it? There's a fascinating fact about mathematics and computer science, which is it's much, much harder to come up with a proof than to verify that the proof is correct. You can write a code like just a simple program, 100 lines long only, like a proof checker. That checks, this step is correct, this is step. You don't have to understand much at all about the proof. To just check that it's correct. It's like if I have a very long chain, I just have to inspect each link and see that it's not broken, right? So if a super intelligent AI comes up with if it writes some code, which isn't the AI itself, but it writes some code that figures out how to do your new cancer drug or run your nuclear reactor or build your spaceship or whatever, and it also produces a proof that you as a human can check with your little human understandable proof checker that this is going to do exactly what you want, and you just run that. That's actually a fantastic situation to be in. Then you never have to run the AI, the most big black box AI that you don't understand in an uncontrolled circumstance. But you'll have all this amazingly powerful AI that it's created that you can actually prove that you can trust. The kicker here is that no matter how smart you are as an AI, right, you can never do the impossible. So if there is actually a mathematical proof that this thing is not going to cause harm, then you actually can trust it, right? No matter how smart it is.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real. and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I am just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
This course has been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you got to pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.